Hi, welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. My name is George Alger. Today we're going to be talking about activism. And our guest expert is Maria Humphreys, who is a spiritual activist. Welcome, Maria, and what does that mean?
That means that I'm really passionate about helping people find their power that they may have forgotten in their lives. I just noticed several years ago, obviously, so many people are disconnected. They're forgetting who they are. So I started a podcast and a YouTube channel trying to elevate the conversation and do it in a fun way. My podcast is called Strong Body, Strong Soul because I'm a spiritual activist to try and help people remember who they are. That's what it
Excellent.
that's what it is. And really empower them to use their voice in the wisest way, most efficient way they can in life.
Good. So let's start off by even defining what is activism.
Well, it's reminding people who they are. You cannot do that for someone. I had someone recently that sent me a message. I teach also. He sent me a message and he said, "Will you open my third eye?" And he wanted a guarantee. And I'm like, "No, that's not what I do." Activating someone, speaking about topics that are sometimes uncomfortable for people is a way to activate them, to shift their perspective. They are the ones that need to do the work. You can't drag someone to a protest, for instance, or any kind of church, temple, and make them do something. They need to want to do that and be reminded of how important they are and how powerful they can be.
Okay, so in regards to activism as we're discussing right now, is it more of just it's a personal thing and certainly related to spiritual things as opposed to social activism, which I think many people, or at least myself, sort of equate with the term activism?
Well, it depends how you decide to use your energy, because a lot of people are out there protesting about the current Black Lives Matter situation, for instance. Some of them are afraid to get out there. Some of them kind of want to, but they don't feel safe because of COVID and such, of course. But there are many different ways to be an activist. I think when we lose our preconceived ideas of what that means, that right there is the key. Losing your preconceived ideas of what that is, because I'm a meditation teacher, but that word meditation sometimes scares people. But it's the same thing whether you call it prayer or standing up all together in unison at a Dodgers game at the seventh inning stretch. You're joining your voices together, and that becomes a type of community activism, activating everyone for the same common good. And
Okay.
sometimes it's not the same. You might want different results, depends who you're voting for, depends what kind of pizza you want. Everybody has different choices. But when you activate your own reasons why are you making certain decisions? And then you can act on those decisions in a more conscious way. And that's where the power is.
Very good. Let's talk about, I'd say, a practical example. Can you, maybe talk about something recently that represents this?
Well, I mean, in our current environment, obviously politics is a hot topic right now. There are underlying issues always, and people have different perceptions of reality. We're so inundated with so much media coverage that it's hard to tell what really happened. Like the situation in Portland recently, where there are eyewitnesses accounts to what happened. And sometimes the only way to get the information out there is through social media, by posting pictures, by talking about what they actually saw, and really paying attention to the truth, but also the lens, how that truth, how you personally react to that truth, whether you're going to turn a blind eye or not. The other day, I was actually in Westlake Village at a protest recently, and there are different dynamics going on, of course. But some people, there was a group of really young people in their early 20s that were using really derogatory statements and being almost violent to some of the counter protesters that were there. And I just think that when you think activism, I want to make this very clear for all the viewers. Activism does not mean rioting and looting in the streets. It doesn't mean violence is occurring. And I think that's so important. And I think a lot of people are losing sight of that with the onslaught of media coverage that's happening right now, too. Getting your core beliefs and your core reasons, your why, and looking at the world through your perspective is so valuable. It's so key to activate who you are and take action that's appropriate for you and your family.
Very good. So from your perspective, when we're dealing with, let's say, a social issue, like whatever was going on at the protest, you're going to have, of course, many people of varying perspectives, but yet they might be united in a cause, and you have other people who may have varying perspectives and they're united in a cause. Mm-hmm. How would the spiritual aspect of spiritual activism inform this?
Well, it goes to ego. It actually, when we think that we know the answer without any help, any insight from intelligence outside ourselves, whether that intelligence is coming from someone who thinks politically different than yourself, it informs how you think. Whether you believe in a God or not, we all need each other, at least outside of our own selves. That's where spirituality comes from. We are more than just our bodies. We connect with each other, whether it is through creativity, through the same kind of social norms that are happening, the same theme in movies, for instance, that are happening at the same time. A similar movie will come out at the same time. We think very similarly to each other. And it's the whole idea of we are far more similar than we are different. And that's where the spiritual aspect comes in. Whether you are Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, it doesn't matter. That's where we're all united, where we can recognize that same Kundalini energy that they may be talking about in India is the same energy that is depicted as a halo on the saints in churches. It's the same energy throughout cultures. That's where the spirituality comes from. And to a lot of people, that word spirituality is kind of scary and too woo-woo. That's why I love my podcast so much, because I can be walking through the aisles of Costco in Westlake Village and feel connected to people I don't need to know their names. We need to go back to that childlike connection to people, being in a park and playing with kids and not having to know what kind of car they drive or what their name is. It's okay. You connect with people on a different level. That happens all the time at protests, at concerts. You dance your way through the crowd. Mm-hmm. It's all good, and you manage and you change and evolve as things progress in our culture. Change is the only thing that is an absolute. We have to change all the time, whether it's this kind of mask works today, and then we change our minds, we learn new information, and we evolve beyond that, and we figure out, oh, you know what? This mask is better. We figure it out. It doesn't mean that you were being inauthentic 2 weeks before when you said one thing. It means that you learned, and it's a responsibility to adjust and change.
Very good. All right, Maria, we're just about out of time here. I wonder if we could sneak in a website that viewers could go to for more information, and if you have a summating message for the viewers.
Sure. A Strong Body, Strong Soul is the name of my website, my podcast, my YouTube channel. I do offer free meditations, especially right now for kids. I love teaching kids, especially. But my main message is to not lose, to regain that power and that connection to why you're here, to why you're here, and be a good example to the next generation that's coming up. Be someone that you are going to be proud of when you look back 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Be proud of how you behave, how you react to the challenges in our world that are happening right now. So that would be,
Thank you very much, Maria.
yes, thank you.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until I meet again.